Test 1, 2. President Soto, the time is 5:30 p.m.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Adelanto Elementary School District. I am calling this meeting to order. The time is 5:30 p.m. We'll get started with the roll call and quorum establishment. Ms. LeVey?
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus present.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer present.
Trustee Stewart,
Present.
Trustee Soto,
Soto present.
and Trustee La French is out today.
We have a quorum. Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam VP, would you like to please lead us?
Yes, sir. If I could please have everyone stand, place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to the proposed additions, deletions, and adjustments in the order of business. Do we have any?
We do not.
All right, moving on to the adoption of the agenda. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
All right, we'll take the roll call or the vote. Ms. LeVey?
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
So do I. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to staff reports and presentations. Dr. Villegas.
Yes, thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. Welcome and happy summer. One of today's presentation, the first one that we're going to be looking at is through the Extended Learning Opportunity Program, which is the program that usually deals with after-school programs. It deals with intercessions summer. And basically the process is going to be shared tonight as to what's the legal process that we have to go through as a district in order in terms of adopting a new carrier, or it doesn't have to be a new carrier, but anytime that we go to bid, there's a certain process that has to happen, and it'll be shared tonight as to what was that process, who was involved, and what decisions were made. And so with that, we're very fortunate to have the director of our External Learning Program, Dr. Lee. So Dr. Lee, welcome. Thank you for being here. And if you can just guide us, I understand you have a committee here that's going to be helping you co-present.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you for being here.
Austin, do I have the clicker? Okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. President Soto, board trustees, interim superintendent, Dr. Villegas, executive cabinet, Adelanto teachers, staff, and Adelanto community. I'm sorry, my voice is going. All right, next slide. And I'm here this evening to share with you the recommendation from the ELOPE Advisory Committee. And so I want to start first with the mission and the vision and our values, and just looking at some of the key words that are in the mission and vision: innovation, meaningful connections, enriched learning experiences, skills and knowledge to thrive in a diverse world, educational excellence, safe and inclusive environment, embracing unique strengths, achieving their fullest potential, and engaging in their curiosity and their creativity, as well as making sure that we are looking at our diverse student population, giving them equitable chances, and again, really tapping into safety, wellness, and joy. And then going back to the definition of expanded learning, again, it focuses on before school, after school, summer, intercession, hands-on, engaging learning experiences. Academic skills and mastery, which mean reading and math, literacy and numeracy, learning interests, physical needs, social emotional competency. And then it's student-centered and results-driven. And what that means is that a big part of ELOP, it's supposed to impact the California School Dashboard. And so when we look at chronic absenteeism, we look at our ELA scores, we look at our math scores, it's supposed to impact that. So what happens in the school day should also kind of happen in the after school program. And then enrichment, play, nutrition, and other developmentally appropriate activities. All right, so our ELOP Advisory Committee, we had 30 members on that ELOP Advisory Committee. We had 10 parents, 10 classified staff, and then 10 teachers. The committee was put together for the purpose of evaluating our after-school program, ensuring that we are continuously improving our after-school program, in addition to looking at the RFP process, which was the process that we needed to go through because of the 3 years were up for the last RFP process. Again, we want to impact our community, our students, and the people that we serve in the after school, before school, and all the programs that we have. And so again, the committee was comprised of staff, parents, and guardians, and we had 30 different stakeholders that participated. All right, going back to the mission and vision and core values. Again, these are the key words that we pulled out of the mission and vision. These are the words that the ELOP advisory really focused on when we looked at the RFPs that were submitted to us. We looked to see if the vendor was innovative. Did they have new ideas that would be presented to students in creative ways and allow our students to grow in the ability to problem solve? Did it make meaningful connections, meaning that students would be able to make connections and build relationship with staff and students within the program and with their peers? Enrich learning, provide experiences that go deeper, again, deeper from the regular school day. Educational excellence, setting high expectations for our students for them to achieve at their fullest potential. Again, in a safe and inclusive environment, and then building a sense of belonging where they want to be at the after school program. All right, always looking at our Adelanto framework for the future. We asked specifically that vendors who applied for the RFP, that they made sure that they also focused on the framework for the future. Our learner profile delineates that we want empowered learners, we want critical thinkers, we want our students to be future ready. We want them to be change makers, and we want them to be communicators and collaborators. And then the learning model is the how. We want equitable and inclusive learning experiences for them, meaning that we're including our students with disabilities. We're authentic in what we do and what we provide for our students. We're personalized, and that everything is competency based. And then looking at those outcomes, we want our experiences to be student centered, as well as we want to encourage the well being and increase the belongingness of our students. And so, with that said, next slide. The committee also looked at the quality standards for expanded learning. We have 12 of those standards. As you can see, they're divided into two categories. One is direct student experience and one is program infrastructure. The direct student experience is truly what we focused on, in that, again, we looked at the RFPs that were submitted by vendors, and we looked to see that their RFP were aligned with the quality standards for expanded learning. These are the standards that are given to us from the state of California for the expanded learning funds. And so again, safe and supportive environment, actively and engaged learning, skill building, meaning that our students just are not playing soccer, but they're being taught how to play soccer, how to kick a ball into the goal, and that there are steps associated with that. Youth voice and leadership, meaning that students have enrichment activities that are provided to them in the after school program, but that they're also able to choose those activities and given a voice in those activities that are provided. healthy choices and behaviors, again, promoting nutrition and physical activity, and then diversity, access, and equity. Again, being inclusive of all our different groups, particularly our foster youth who the program is designed for, our English learners, our socioeconomically disadvantaged students. All right, next slide. And so part of what the committee did as well is we reviewed student survey results. Those survey results were given to us by Action Youth America. And so the committee had an opportunity to preview those results and comb over them. Parent survey results. Parents were sent the survey early January. We sent it out 4 different times. We had 27% of our parents that students that are involved in expanded learning that they filled it out. And then we had teacher surveys, and we had about 43 teachers who filled it out. It was sent out numerous times to teachers, but I do believe that the low number of results from teachers is because they didn't think that they had any impact on the after-school program. But here on the slide, you can also see some of the questions that were asked, as well as the feedback from the student survey. The questions that were on the survey were particular to the quality standards for expanded learning. Next slide. All right, so now I'm going to ask that our ELOPE Advisory Committee come up, and they each are going to share different aspects with you about their involvement in the committee process. I'm going to call you all up at one time, and then that way we'll all be up here and we can just speak to what we're going to speak to. So the first one we have is Mrs. Johnston, who is our middle school principal, and then we have a parent, Miss Charmaine, another parent, which is Ileana, a teacher from Gus Franklin, Miss Caceres, and then we have Mr. Hahn. So I'm going to let you guys go ahead
Perfect.
and speak.
Hi, good evening. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to do this presentation for you. I will say that before I went through this process, I had no idea how we even entered into 3-year contracts with companies. And the really, really, really important part to me was that it involved all of our stakeholders. There was literally somebody from every stakeholder group that was part of this. And we took time, the first 2 meetings that we even had were really learning about what an after school program should be. I did not know that there were standards until I entered into this process. And it was very eye-opening to see what it should be. Previously, I was at a high school district. We didn't have ELOPE, so it was very new to me. So the very first thing we did is we reviewed all of their written proposals. We looked at cost and pricing because that's always huge, especially in our current fiscal state for the entire state of California. So fiscal pricing, and some of the things that we looked at was, is there an increase over the next couple of years? Some of them had like a 5% increase. Some of them it was due to like attendance and things like that. So we looked at that, and then we looked at their program design. Are they aligned with our LCAP goals? Because as we know, that drives everything for us. And then more importantly for me as a principal, I looked to see and make sure that they were also aligned with my SIPSA goals and how those 2 things related. We looked at their comprehensive arts and STEM programs and to see if they were offering standards-based curriculum and things like that. We looked at their sustainability. Have they been part of a district before? Are they part of neighboring districts? Like, are they going to be sustainable? Or is it a company that may, go out of business in 5 years and then we're stuck? We looked at experience. So proven success with expanded learning within ASD and our surrounding districts. So if they had anything to show for that. We looked at the elements of quality standards. And once again, it goes back to, are you aligned with Common Core standards? Are you aligned with what we're teaching our students? Are you providing a safe and supportive environment? A lot of our kids are in AYA because their parents work or they need that enrichment. And so are you providing that safe environment for them? And last and probably one of the most important is youth voice and leadership. Are we teaching them to also be future leaders in their after school program? And then budgetary plan and narrative was worth like 10 points. So you can see all the or the point breakdown. So I'm sorry, I lost my mind there for a second. Their financial responsibility and their commitment to adequate resources are some of the things that we are providing as an outside source are they automatically embedded into their bid as well? So out of a total of 150 points, we took our top 3 and then we went to the next round with them and we had 2 separate panels. And once again, the panels were made up of all the different stakeholders. We had them actually do an oral presentation to us about what they have to offer and what their program looks like. So we got to actually meet some of the people who work for the companies. And then they could also score another 150 points. So it was really kind of an in-depth process. I'm not going to lie, I thought you just looked at some papers and picked your favorite one, and that's not it at all. And not all of us agreed all the time on everything, but it was great that we all had a voice and that we came to a consensus, and it was all points related. I filled out my own packet, everyone else filled out their own packet, so we all had a voice in how this whole process worked.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charmaine Vaughn, and I serve as a parent representative on the Expanded Learning and Opportunities Program Committee. I'm reading from my notes because I'm a little nervous. As a parent, I take expanded learning very seriously because this program matters to families. It's not just after school supervision, it should be a safe, structured, and meaningful space where students receive academic support, enrichment, and care that families can trust. When we reviewed the options, I appreciated that the focus was on what would best serve our students moving forward. We looked at more than just one piece of the proposal. We had to consider the quality of programming, student safety, academic support, communication with families, and whether the provider could realistically and sustainably meet the needs of the district. From a parent perspective, several things stood out to me about Think Together. Um, I appreciated the focus on homework support and academic help at the beginning of the program day, when students are more likely to be able to engage. I also appreciated that the program was not presented as separate from the school day, but as something that could connect with what students were already learning. Safety and structure were also important to me. Parents need to know that students are being accounted for, that staffing ratios are being followed, and that there is clear oversight at the site and district level. This decision was not about making change just for the sake of making change. It was about choosing the option that we believe could best support students, families, and the district moving forward. Based on the information we reviewed, the interviews we participated in, and the discussions we had as a committee, I support the recommendation to move forward with Think Together. At the end of the day, my support is based on what I believe is best for students and families. We need a program parents can trust, students can benefit from, and the district can sustain. So for those reasons, I do support moving forward with Think Together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ileana Moreno. I was one of part of the committee. One of the things that stand out to me from Think Together versus AYA, it's that my kids doesn't feel safe. What's the first thing that I see right now? That when they're in school, sometimes they're like, they don't know where they're at. And I feel like it's an environment that it's like being in a babysitter. It's not an environment that you're gonna be learning any new skills or nothing. All of the uh, all of the staff that are in there is like they're supervising, but it's one per like 20 or 40, and they're doing, for example, arts, and they're just doing it by themselves. They don't have any skills, they don't have any tools, they don't have an explanation of how to do it. They're just there just to supervise them. Another thing that I want to share, it's all the things that they don't provide any technology, and I see that Think Together is one of the things that they work with companies to bring technology and more information to the kids. Another thing that it's more important for me that AY didn't have it. I have two of my kids that are in. They have IEP, and both of them they were not supported in their system with AYA. And I see that Think Together, they have people that are being trained to help people with disabilities. One of the things that I chose for over the reason that I choose Think Together was because I want to feel my kids and other kids to be safe and be comfortable while going to the AYA program, feel safe, a way to learn other skills and be prepared for the future. And the last thing that I want to share it's that they feel that I see on their reports and everything, they have a daily structure on their reports. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Gabriela Cazares. I am a SPED teacher, special needs teacher at Gus Franklin. So really quickly, I'm not gonna sound redundant. All these things that we just learned tonight. I was also out of the loop on how this process is, and so I am very grateful, Dr. Lee, to having just so many different people come and join and learn this process and give our thoughts. What I do want to say, I have worked directly with AYA. My experience was wonderful with AYA. Okay, wonderful. I personally was rooting for AYA. That being said, again, there was many factors that we had to look into, and I liked the way it was set up because again, it was even if I was biased or anyone was biased, numbers don't lie, right? We go back and we count it and we look into what was really important. As a special ed teacher, inclusion of our students matters a great deal. And unfortunately, many of our students were not able to join AYA because of the challenging behaviors and, not having staff knowing or having the experience or the training on how to deal with these behaviors. So that is one thing that really stood out from Think Together. Again, I'm for AYA. I love AYA, but we're looking at us like a whole approach and looking at all the factors, and Think Together really stood out. So I move forward with Think Together. I'll make it short and sweet. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brian Hahn, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at Morgan Kincaid. First of all, I want to tell you that this was a very grueling and intensive process. This took more than a month, almost 2 months in total to really meet and get together and look at the RFPs. And there were several RFPs that were submitted. And some RFPs were immediately eliminated from the process because they did not meet, as Dr. Lee outlined earlier, they did not meet all of the criteria that were required to be considered. And then it came down to a few others, and ultimately, once again, I don't want to keep repeating the same things, but it came down to equity. It came down to availability. It came down to safety. Will our children be safe? Will our children be in an environment where they are truly learning? Will it be an environment that, promotes their well-being? So overall, after lots of consideration, lots of dialogue with the committee, the interview process where we got to meet members from all of the teams and interviewed them. The scores came out and ranked Think Together as the top contender for this. And I also believe that Think Together is offering everything that will help our students thrive, and particularly as we look at our framework um, for Thrive 2030, they will help move these students forward. Thank you.
All right, so I want to thank the ELOPE Advisory Committee. I really appreciate them being here this evening to just share our process. And then these are just some of the posters that we did as we went through the process. Again, just really pulling out those keywords. What would we see? What would we hear? What would we feel in the after-school program at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the evening? And so with that said, that's all I have. Thank you. We're all done.
Thank you.
And then we have a video.
Think Together has partnered with schools across California for close to 30 years, changing the odds for kids, expanding the school day so every student has more time to learn, grow, and discover their greatness.
They have teachers here that specifically teacher in reading and then others teacher in math. So they give her special time in whatever she needs here. So they help them a lot here. Because sometimes I get off work late and it helps me like for her to be here learning and not having at the house on the TV, on the phones. And I like here when she's here, she's safe and she's learning a lot.
It has actually benefited me tremendously because I'm a working mother. It has been a great help to me and my children. It's just an awesome program for them to have to where I know that they're safe and are in the care of well-trained PLs and other staff members. They have awesome programs, awesome activities, things that are going on, and I'm very grateful for that.
Every time she comes home, she's so excited. She tells me the activities that they do. They give her their full attention when she's asking for a question or she needs some sort of assistance with something. They're always attentive to the students. It's just not only her, but she always speaks highly of the whole facility and just the whole entire program.
Think Together has helped me improve my learning.
I look forward to going to physical activity because it's fun.
Sometimes we go out to play catch, basketball, and stuff like that. And then we go to the NPR, and we do homework, and we go on our Chromebooks. We go on FAV tutor.
My favorite thing that I do in Think Together is catch because I like to play sports with my friends.
I like coming because you get to spend more time with your friends. It helps you advance with homework, and then especially the physical activity is fun.
Think Together brings in specialized partners in the arts, sports, technology, and performing arts to give students experiences that go beyond what the school day can offer. These enrichment accelerators are programs districts can add to their partnership, creating something truly distinctive for their students and families. Think Together is also supported by a network of corporate and philanthropic partners, technology companies, aerospace and engineering leaders, and major foundations who invest in what we do because they believe in the students we serve. That investment brings students opportunities, tools, and experiences they would not otherwise have access to. Think Together partners with schools to change the odds for kids. Together, we're making sure education unleashes opportunity, prosperity, and purpose for every student. Think Together has been rooted in the high desert community for over 14 years, with local staff, local students, and a deep commitment to this region. We are excited for the opportunity to partner with Adelanto Elementary School District and build on that foundation together.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, go around for questions. Trustee Kraus, any questions, comments?
No questions. I appreciate the presentation and the thoroughness. I think that after reviewing the RFP process and how many people that were on the panel, at least since my time with the district, I have to say that's probably one of the most comprehensive evaluations that I've seen related to any RFP, whether it's the after-school program or any other one. And so hopefully in the future, we have just as a robust committee, because I think that all voices should be heard on it, rather than a few people sitting around making decisions on a program that affects so many of our families and students in the district. So I just want to thank you for your leadership and assembling that, and everyone that was on the committee to thoroughly vet all of the submissions in the RFP process. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Stewart?
So when I first came on the board, we had to go through this process in the past, and we had been with Think together. And I think one of the issues with it was that students were not finishing their homework. And then they'd go home at 6 and still have homework when they should be spending time with their family or unwinding. How will, if they come back, how would we not have that happen, so that the students do the homework? And also, what happens with the kids who say, "Oh, I don't have homework"? How will that be addressed?
All right, well, two things. One, Think Together does their homework time at the very beginning of their program. So after the kids have snack and nutrition, they go straight into that academic enrichment. Two things happen in that academic enrichment. They do homework as well as homework adjacent work. So if your child is one that says, "Oh, I don't have homework," he's still going to get some reading, writing, some literacy to do. The other students who have homework will actually do their homework. And the best part of that is, again, they're doing that first before going on to the enrichment, which hopefully will help parents out, because hopefully their homework will be completed. They also have homework communication that they use, and they send it back and forth to the child's teacher as well as to the parent, so that the parent knows that, hey, your child has come 3 days in a row and they've stated that they don't have homework. And so now I'm making the parent aware, so that the parent can now either talk to the student or talk to the teacher. So there's clear communication filled in there to make sure we close that gap.
Okay, and will the schools be working closely with the program to make sure they're grade aligned?
Yes, so one thing that I added since I started was, we call them a BTB site lead, or Beyond the Bell site lead. And that person is a teacher who works with any vendor that we have coming in that is on site. So that teacher will always be available to talk to whichever vendor we have, whether that be AYA or whether that be our high dosage tutoring or whoever. It's kind of like a liaison from the school day into the after school program.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to say, as a single parent, I depended heavily on the after school programs to make sure that my kids were in a safe place, but also that they got help with their homework, because though I'm a teacher, I just could not help my kids with their homework. They got mad at me. I got mad at them. So it was a way to, if you want to do this and join the clubs, you got to get the homework done. So it was appreciated. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. VP Kyer?
I will make my comments short this evening. I do want to express my gratitude. I know this has been a very long, drawn-out process that required a lot of hands, a lot of brains, a lot of thinking together. I do want to acknowledge and appreciate the process, though. Since I've been on the board, I've made it a huge factor to do these committees, to do these processes, to follow compliance with the state, so that we don't jeopardize any kind of funding for these activities after school. And I just really want to express how thankful I am that we did do process, procedure, and compliance this year. And I thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll just echo the sentiments of my colleagues. Thank you for your presentation. Very thorough process for an RFP. So thank you. All right.
President, if I can just add one thing, just for the record, just Dr. Lee was facilitating the process. She was in the room, and there was Dr. Valdez facilitated one of the meetings, but they were not voting. They did not. Their input was not taken into account. It was really just the committee's input, and I want to make sure that that was stated and everyone knew that. She and Dr. Valdez had nothing to do with the selection, nor did anyone else in cabinet.
Thank you, Dr. Villegas. All right, moving on to staff reports. Williams Settlement third quarterly report. Dr. Villegas.
Yeah, and that's one of those ongoing visits for Williams, and there were no findings, and so we're glad to see that report, and so no findings at any of our schools.
Excellent. Awesome. All right, moving on to ADTA and CSCA representatives. We'll start with ADTA. Do we have any rep?
The board calls on Brian Hahn.
Good evening, Board President Soto, Superintendent Villegas, Trustee Kyer, Trustee Stewart, Trustee Kraus, all of our ADTA members, as well as our CSEA brothers and sisters, our audience members, and those joining us virtually. I really don't have too much to say, but I did want to share a message that President Tapia sent along, and he really wanted me to express to you how important it is that, as we all know, the cost of living just continues to go up. Inflation keeps ticking up. Gas prices keep ticking up. Our healthcare will, in some sorts, we're in a good place with our Kaiser currently, but we flipped the script with Anthem Blue because the lower prices that Anthem Blue members were able to obtain for the 25-26 school year have reversed, so that Kaiser members are actually getting a better break than the Anthem Blue members. However, the trajectory in healthcare, all we have to do is turn on the television screen and look, and we see that healthcare is on the rise, and it will continue to be on the rise. And once again, the teachers are looking to just have some consideration regarding that. We come to work every day. We do our jobs. We come with passion. We come with love. We work hard in our classrooms. We work hard across the district. We work hard for our families and our students. And we just would like fair compensation. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to CSCA, do we have any representatives?
The board calls on Diane Lynn. I'm not sure I see her. She's not here, and I don't have a name for a representative for tonight.
All right. Moving on to closed session declarations. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and open public comments. We'll have our Vice President read the public comment speaker card, and just want to give go ahead. I'll say after. Sorry.
All righty then. The public comment period is administered by state law and is the point in the meeting set aside for members of the public to share their opinions with the board. Open meeting laws do not permit the board to engage in dialogue or answer questions. Any person who wishes to address the governing board on closed session agenda items only must complete and submit an AESD speaker request form 5 minutes before the meeting is called to order. Public comments will only be taken on agenda items during the discussion of those items. The board values public comments, and although the Board of Trustees cannot take action or discuss items not on the agenda, the Board of Trustees listens carefully and appreciates input from the public. Additionally, a public speaker can be cut off for exceeding the allotted time or for willfully causing an actual disruption to the meeting. Before cutting a person off or removing someone, the board will give at least one clear warning. If you were cut off or warned last time, please consider that your warning. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each closed session agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add.
Thank you. So I just want to, I know some of the members of the public are here to speak on AYA. We're going to come back at 7:10. That'll be the time for AYA comments to speak. Right now, we're taking closed session items only. Ms. LeVay, do we have any speakers?
We do. We have Dawn Fernandez. She's speaking on items 4.2 and 4.3.
Good evening, board members and superintendent, cabinet members. I just wanted to address a few things that have been going on that I want to make sure that are reflected. First off, as teachers and classified staff, we have a duty of care to our students, not just to educate them, but we have a duty of care to make sure that they're safe and they have emotional well-being while they're in our care. With that being said, the district also has a duty of care to their employees. Our teachers and our CSCA members, they have a duty of care to make sure that we also are safe and have social, emotional well-being while we're in work and in a safe environment. When we are put in a situation where we're not safe and we have reported it, that we are not safe and we are feeling harassed either by staff members or parents, those instances should be taken with sincere notation and things should be done about it. When we put ourselves in harm's way to protect students, whether it's from other students or even parents, we should not be looked at as the enemy or villains. We have integrity that do the right thing when nobody's looking, and we are doing the right thing when everybody is looking. One thing I do want to make sure that we are also keeping in mind, we need to make sure we have integrity when we are looking for outside vendors that say they're providing services for special needs students. When they say they can provide the services, as a district, we need to make sure that we are providing the means for those special needs students to be able to attend those services. So when we're looking at an after-school program, keep in mind that most of our special needs students take door-to-door transportation. So just because we're checking the box that this company or this entity can provide services to our special needs students, it breaks my heart that most of them will not attend because they're on a door-to-door bus
30
and they
seconds.
won't be able to attend because we can't make sure that they have transportation. We need to have integrity and make sure that as a district that we're not turning away those students from these services, that we're making sure that they can attend by making sure that they can get there and get home. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker for closed session.
We have Kimberly Smith. She's speaking on items 4.2, 4.3, and 4.4.
Good evening, board members and district leadership and audience members. Just want to get a couple things straight. This wasn't supposed to be the beginning of my speech, but now it is. On International Night at Victoria McGathan Elementary School, Don Fernandez and I shielded one of our 5th grade students from an irate, irrational adult who was set on aggressively interrogating him over a conflict between two 11-year-old children. We did what most teachers would do. We protected a child from an adult who posed a threat. For that, we were met with shoulder shrugs, words of sympathy, and in my case, a few lines of untruths. Then came a propagandized flyer containing statements I believe were false, damaging, and potentially libelous. Comments that attacked our school, myself, our principal, our assistant principal, and may carry serious legal ramifications. So this is what it also got me. Over the past few weeks, I have been truly enlightened, not in a positive way, but in a painful and disappointing one. I have seen firsthand how little this district appears to have its employees' backs when it matters most. I have been fed untruths. I was reassured with words that did not match the actions that followed. I expressed that I did not feel safe. I expressed that I felt harassed and threatened. Instead of being protected, supported, or even taken seriously, I was left vulnerable. What is most disturbing is that the district made it clear that it was dealing with people it considered unstable and unpredictable, yet knowing that those same individuals were still allowed to be in the presence of employees, parents, and students. You knew there was concern, you knew there was risk, you knew employees were afraid, and still our safety was treated as secondary to your plans. 3 times, this district has put me in harm's way through deception, secrecy, and calculations. 3 times, I was led to believe one thing would happen, only to learn, when it was too late for me to change plans or protect myself, that something completely different had already been arranged. What should have been a safe, enjoyable excursion became a stressful, anxiety-filled day for employees, parents, and students. Instead of creating positive memories for children, I was forced to stay on alert because the district chose to withhold information and force its will upon everyone involved. And let me be clear, this does not go away because my emails and phone calls go unanswered. Silence does not erase what happened. Ignoring me does not make me unaware. Failing to respond does not eliminate the district's responsibility for decisions it made or the harm those decisions caused. Employees should never have to wonder whether the district will protect them or sacrifice them for convenience. We should never question whether our safety matters less than avoiding conflict with others. So tonight, I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing me exactly who
30
you are
seconds.
when an employee needs protection, honesty, and support. I believed your words before. From here on out, I will believe your actions. And just on a side note, I just believe that it's wrong that those that are here to speak for AYA have to wait until 7:10, especially after last week when President Soto, you did say that you would like to make sure that everyone that wanted to speak was given a chance. I can't remember the last time this board has come back at 7:10 after closed session. There are students here, there are families here that probably like to get to sleep. I know it's the summer, but they should be allowed to speak now.
Thank you. Any other speakers for closed session?
No, that's all for the closed session part.
All right. Moving on to closed session. I motion that we go to closed session. Is there a second?
Kraus, I second.
All right, we'll take the vote. Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, nay.
Trustee Soto?
Soto, aye. Motion passes 3-1. The time is 6:19, and we'll be back at 7:15, whether we finish in closed session or not. That way we can hear from all of you. All right, we're in closed session. Good evening, everyone. We're reconvening to open session. The time is 7:05. We'll take the roll call in quorum establishment. Ms. LeVay,
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus present.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer present.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart present.
Trustee Soto?
Soto present. We have a quorum. Announcement of reportable actions taken during closed session. We took no action in closed session. Public testimony. This is where the members of the public get to speak on agenda items on the agenda or not on the agenda. We're gonna actually do, I know a lot of you are here for AYA, so we're gonna give you 20 minutes in total for AYA. So we'll call out 3 speakers at a time. That way we can start lining you guys up, and that way everyone gets an opportunity to be heard. Alrighty, so we'll put 20 minutes on the clock, and actually, we'll just have who wants to speak on AYA to come up to the podium. You guys can form a line. That way we can just, so 20 minutes, just keep in mind, that's in total. So if you guys have nothing new to add, this is the opportunity to just summarize your comments and then allow the next speaker to speak. Alrighty, so whoever, we'll call
You
out
want
the
me to
first
call their
one.
names?
Let's call out their names.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want me to call them all so they can start lining up?
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and have start coming up. Amy Jimenez, Natalie Flores, Tomas Vasquez, Kiara Cook, Johanna Lizaraga, Exilia Martinez, and those will be the ones lining up.
Whoever would like to speak first, you can go ahead and start. The timer will start when you start speaking.
Good afternoon. I want to talk about why I feel like the AYA program shouldn't be replaced with the Think Together program. As a student with the AYA program, I have experienced the good impact that the AYA program has on students. It provides sports, activities, opportunities, support, and experiences that help us grow both academically and personally. AYA is more than just a program, it's a community that helps us students build confidence, develop important skills, and prepare for the future. Replacing AYA with another program may seem like a good idea on paper, but it would mean that the Adelanto district would lose a system that many of us students already trust and benefit from. A new program would take time to develop, adjust, and prove its effectiveness with the Adelanto schools. During that transition, students could miss out on valuable opportunities and support. Another major reason to keep the AYA in the Adelanto district is because of the opportunities us students get since we're able to choose if we want to do a sport or activity. We are able to choose from multiple different sports activities such as basketball, volleyball, flag football, soccer, art, esports, and cheer. One thing I like about basketball, flag football, and sometimes soccer is that we're able to compete against other schools. A major thing I like about cheer for the AYA program is that we're able to perform at really cool places. An example is that we got to perform at the Christmas tree lighting. We also get the chance to compete at places like Knott's Berry Farm, and if we win there, then we proceed to the LA County Fair, then Six Flags. If we win those two, then we go to compete at Las Vegas, which is something we wouldn't be able to do with Think Together. Another very important point is that the AYA program has already established relationships between students, staff, and even parents. These connections help create a good and positive learning environment and help students succeed. Replacing the program could get in the way of those relationships and create unnecessary uncertainty. Instead of replacing the AYA program, we should focus on improving it. Every program has areas in which it's able to grow, but improving something that already works is most likely going to be more effective than starting something completely new. As a decision makers, you have the opportunity to support a program that has already made a difference in students' lives. I encourage and hope you consider the benefits AYA provides and the risks of replacing it. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good afternoon. I'm here to talk about the AYA program and why it matters to me and many students. AYA is more than just a school program. It's a place where students feel supported, make friends, and grow as individuals. It helps us stay connected and give us a positive space during school. For me, AYA connects to cheer and creating many friendships. Cheer has taught me teamwork and dedication, and AYA brings that same feeling of support and motivation. It's also where many of us have built strong friendships that make school a better experience. If we lose AYA, we lose more than a program. We lose a community that helps students feel like they belong. Please consider keeping the AYA program. You may not realize it, but it truly makes a difference. Thank you.
I would like to add a little bit more onto it. As a parent, it benefits me as well as other parents, as well as this program, the morning program and the after school program, not only because they're doing sports and activities, but they also learn academics in there as well. They learn stuff. And it is a safe place. My daughter has been there since the first grade, and I have my second daughter as well. So if I would have thought it was not a safe place, they would not be there at the first time. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Vasquez, and my daughter goes to Melva Davis Academy of Excellence. She is a cheerleader, so she's a student athlete there. And most recently, she just made the principal's list honor roll. And if you ask her, one of the biggest credits to that was the rigor that she learned while being on the cheer team through AYA at her school. Coach K has them sign a contract before they even join the cheer team, keeping academics above everything else, right? So they have to meet some rigor there. And then, hearing that her homework's already done by the time I get home. To contextualize a little bit, I'm a professional educator. I'm a college professor at Pomona College. I've been teaching there for 21 years. So trust me when I say I definitely understand that, the experience doesn't just happen in the classroom. It happens before and after and at the home, right? And just to hear the stories that my daughter would bring home about, Miss Carmen, Miss Desiree, Coach K, just all of them holding them to a very high level, right? And I would say that my daughter joining the team this year was one of the huge keys to her success. I can confidently say that. I saw the metrics for the ELOP on the other programs and all that, and I really appreciate the rigor that went into that whole process. But it seems a little not transparent seeing the scores that all these other programs did not obtain. So hopefully those scores can be available for the public to see. Because it's hard to hear some parents talk about safety when I know my daughter was there, and I'm a very protective dad daughter. But every program has its deficiencies. Like if you look at Think Together, there's some articles about some dubious activities from members of Think Together from November, right? There's a KTLA article about that from Moreno Valley. So I would suggest you go do your research on that program too. But again, every program has issues with it. And if you have issues with AYA, let's fix it together. I'm a scientist. I teach organic chemistry. I'm in charge of the lectures and the labs. And primarily, I'm focused on lab development. And the scientist in me really teaches me not to change a lot of variables at once. Don't change the whole darn program. Because if the program is completely changed, you don't know what variable made the success of that new program or the failure of that new program. So I would say in our department, we aren't allowed to do any kind of objections unless it's paramount objection. So I paramountly object to the approval of Think Together. I would like to see AYA stick around into my daughter's 8th grade year and beyond. And I would suggest that maybe we just support AYA more, help them develop. If there's, maybe some STEAM lead modules that you want for them, and bring in a consultant to help with that. It's not hard to develop the modules. It's hard to have the staff there that the students trust. The proof is in the pudding. You heard from students about that trust that's already there. And just, I would hate to see coming in a whole new year with a whole new staff, what that would do not only to our cheer program that have a lot of awards and accolades, but also just the academic success that comes along with that in the AWA program. All right, thank you.
Alrighty. So hello everyone. So I wasn't planning on speaking today. However, after hearing the ELOP committee, I have some comments and maybe some questions I'd like to bring to your attention. So everything they've said about the ELOP program is also true about the AYA. So how does it differ other than the AYA actually allowing the kids to compete and go out on trips for cheer and compete against other schools for other with other sports? About their safety, I do take into consideration what the lady said about her kids. I'm so sorry, I don't know your name. However, never has my child nor her friends ever felt unsafe. Maybe it's not an issue of the whole program, but rather the program leaders at the school in that particular school, and maybe it's just helping improve the AYA. So I'm so sorry, I lost my place. Okay. And then another question. How will they ensure that every student has the help they need during homework time? How does it differ from the AYA? Will they have more program leaders than the AYA, or what's the difference here? And then, so a little fun fact here is I grew up with Think Together. And let me tell you, as a student, I didn't like it at all. It was boring, and the only reason that I lasted the whole entire school year there was because my mother made me stick it through. Yes, they tell you about all these great things, but it doesn't actually play out the way they describe in the video. And as a mother now, I wouldn't be okay with my child being there absolutely dreading it. Yes, it helps for when I work later as a child care alternative. However, if she doesn't like it the way she likes AYA, I will unfortunately be seeking to move her districts because she stays motivated in school, knowing she gets to go to AYA after school and is practicing for real competitions, not just for fun. Thank you.
Can we stop the time and call the next speakers, please? That way we don't. The time, can we stop it? And can we please call the next set of speakers? Okay. So if anyone else wants to speak on AYA, this is the time to please line up, and we would like to hear from you. Okay. You can start when you're ready. The time will start when you start.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. My name is Kiara, and I have had the privilege of serving as the after-school cheer coach for AYA at Melva Davis the past 3 years. I am here today because I care deeply about this program and the students it serves. While cheerleading is often viewed as simply a sport or extracurricular activity, what we have built is so much more than that. We have created a safe space where students can grow, belong, succeed, and develop meaningful relationships that will last for far beyond their middle school years. Over the last 3 years, I have worked tirelessly to build this program from the ground up. Through dedication, consistency, and genuine care for our students, we have developed a team culture centered on accountability, teamwork, leadership, and academic success. Every student who participates in our program is required to complete homework time before practice, reinforcing the importance of education while providing support and structure after school. This program gives students opportunities they may not otherwise have. It keeps them engaged in positive activities, encouraging them to connect with their peers, and provides them with mentors who genuinely care about their growth and well being. For many of our students, this program has become a second family. The impact of this program extends beyond our own campus. Through community events, performances, and competitions, our students have represented our school with pride and excellence. Today, we have earned multiple championships, but the trophies are not what make me most proud. What makes me proud are the friendships formed, the confidence built, the leadership skills developed, and the countless moments where students learn that they are capable of achieving more than they ever thought possible. Our program has become something that students look forward to being a part of. Elementary students in our community already dream about attending our school because they see the value, excitement, and sense of belonging our cheer program provides. They see older students who support one another, work hard, and represent their school positively. That kind of influence cannot be measured by a scoreboard alone. When we invest in programs like this, we are investing in student success. We are creating opportunities for young people to stay connected, stay motivated, and stay engaged in school. We are building confidence, character, and community. I respectfully ask that you consider the impact this program has had on our students, families, and school community. The relationship we have built, the opportunities we have created, and the lives we have positively influenced are worth preserving. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your commitment to supporting the students of our district. I am incredibly proud of what we have accomplished together, and I hope we can continue providing these opportunities for the generations of students. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here speaking on behalf of the Think Together contract, so I don't want to take up any of the AYA time unless it's all kind of put together.
We can hear from you after. You'll have 3 minutes to speak on it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stella Vasquez. I'm also an employee for AESD. I am a proctor at Gus Franklin. My daughter has been in AYA since the beginning of 7th grade. She tried out. She was not as shy, okay, a little bit of shy. She is so more outgoing, so outspoken, and it's all thanks to Coach K and AYA. I don't know, because we haven't even really found out if the Think Together is going to go across the board through junior high and elementary. I would suggest you guys do it for elementary, but I don't suggest you guys do it for junior high. Junior high, for being a high school cheerleader, is a stepping stone when you're in junior high. I myself was a cheerleader. Also, my husband was a cheerleader. So we know the sacrifice, the time, the pain, the commitment. My daughter did morning practices when she had a competition for the LA County Fair, which they won first place. They also had a competition last Saturday at Six Flags with only 3 days practice, and they placed first. All thanks to Coach K. These girls are so dedicated and so committed that when they found out that they were going to change, they cried. All the girls literally cried. Some of these girls didn't get to wear uniforms because they barely got the uniforms for the LA County Fair. So some of these girls who were 7th graders, some girls who were 8th graders, never got to have a true uniform, never got to experience what a true cheerleader is like. But yet they stuck it out for that whole school year because they were committed to Coach K and her dedication. They wore t-shirts, they wore shorts to the games. They went to away games with their shirts and their shorts while other schools had their uniforms. They were embarrassed, and I felt embarrassed for them. The Knoxbury Farm competition, they did not have their complete uniform. They were borrowing uniforms, but yet they had black skirts that the district got for them, but they didn't have their complete uniforms. But yet again, they won first place. Their pride was so down. Coach K lifted their spirits up, saying it's not about the uniforms. It's about your performance. It's about your team expectations. And they did it. They excelled, and they kept excelling. They didn't care about the uniforms. They care about the coaches. The coaches need to stay for AYA. They need to stay in middle schools. They're their stepping stones for high school. Thank you.
Hello, was not prepared to speak, but my daughter has been in the program since kindergarten. She loves it. She actually cried in kindergarten when I would pick her up early. She was always looking forward to staying there, and she's very shy and quiet, and she's just loves the program. And now she's not as shy as she used to be. She loves it. She loves all the peer leaders. They are really close, and it's like a family after school. So she always comes home with her homework done, and she loves being there. So I just wanted to let you guys know. Thank you.
Any more speakers for AYA?
President Soto, I do
Yes.
have, I was told, Jill Jackson on Zoom that wants to speak on behalf of AYA.
Okay, let's have them speak.
We're inviting them to unmute now.
Good evening. Yes, good evening. We can hear you. Thank you. Any other speakers?
President Soto, I have someone by the name of Thomas Vasquez that's on Zoom. It doesn't say if it's AYA. Okay, no worries. Then that does it for the AYA for tonight, for this evening.
All right. We'll transition to regular public comments on the agenda or not on the agenda. We'll reset the time for 3 minutes.
Good evening, President Soto, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Villegas, and the Adelanto Elementary School District community. My name is Joanna Lizarraga, and I serve as the Director of District Partnerships for Think Together. I wanted to take a moment tonight to simply say thank you. Thank you for the rigorous RFP process that involved all stakeholders, as well as the opportunity to partner with Adelanto Elementary School District, and for the trust that you've placed in our organization to serve your students, families, and the community. For me, this partnership is deeply personal. I've worked at Think Together for 17 years because I believe in our mission of partnering with school districts to change the odds for kids. Over those years, I've had the privilege of seeing firsthand how expanded learning programs can open doors, build confidence, and create opportunities that can change the trajectory of a children's life, which I think we heard a lot about that today. And I think many of us here tonight really all want the same thing, which is quality programs and relationships that are going to support our students for the future. So today, I'm not only an educator and nonprofit leader, but I'm also a parent. I have 2 children of my own who will be starting 5th grade and 3rd grade this fall. And like every parent, I want my child to be safe, supported, and inspired. I want them to have opportunities to discover interests and talents that they may never know existed. That is why my own children attend Think Together programs, because I would not entrust my children to our programs if I didn't wholeheartedly believe in the work that we do. At Think Together, safety is always our highest priority. But beyond safety, our goal is to align with the school day and expand students' horizons through enrichment, hands on learning, leadership opportunities, and experiences that help them see what's possible for their future. Our commitment to the high desert runs deep. We've proudly served neighboring high desert districts and communities for more than a decade and have invested in a regional office and hundreds of staff members who live, work, and raise their own families throughout this region. This is not just a place where we provide services, it's a community so many of our own team members are proud to call home. While this upcoming expanded partnership marks an exciting new chapter, it's also a meaningful reintroduction to the Adelanto community. Think Together has partnered with Adelanto, and most recently, we've had the privilege of supporting students this year through high dosage tutoring at Gus Franklin Elementary Academy. Those experiences have allowed us to reconnect with students, families, and educators and further strengthen our commitment to serving Adelanto School District. I want to pause on what I'm sharing because at the end of the day, we have parents here, we have students, and I have my colleagues here, Rhonda Scott and Rosalie Trujillo, who are the regional leaders for this area up in the high desert and the districts that we serve up here. And it's our commitment to work with our parents and our community and the district to identify any areas of growth and continue to improve programs and meet the expectations that we all expect for our students here in Adelanto. So again, we're honored to have this opportunity to serve alongside Adelanto Elementary School District, and we look forward to a commitment to student success. And again, we thank you for your trust, your leadership, and your commitment to the students and families.
Thank you.
President Soto?
Yes.
Just for the record, we're experiencing a technical difficulty where, although we can hear the Zoom speaker, it's not being broadcasted on YouTube. So just for the record, we can hear the Zoom speakers, but it's not being recorded or broadcasted to any YouTube audience and won't be heard on the YouTube stream afterwards. Just wanted to mention that for now.
Okay, do we have any other speakers on Zoom?
Yes, we do. We have two more. Lauren Benson.
Asking her to unmute now.
Facing financial challenges. There appeared to be little concern from certain board members when I previously raised issues about overspending within this board's own budget. Additionally, the board approved a significant increase in its own compensation during these financial difficulties. What I've not seen are meaningful efforts by the board to reduce or limit its own spending. So I ask, how can the board justify spending $117,000 of taxpayer money on legal consultations? I will be submitting another public records request for detailed billing from Best and Krieger. I hope this inquiry encourages greater transparency and prompts others to ask questions about how public funds are being used. Most importantly, I hope to find that these expenditures are fully justified as necessary for board business and not being used to advance the agenda or personal interest of any individual board member. My second concern is directed to the district's technology department. I have recently noticed that several of my emails have been deleted without my knowledge or consent. These are not old messages, nor are they emails I chose to delete. What is particularly concerning is that these appear to be very specific emails, ones in which I have raised concerns about harassment by members of the school board. Fortunately, I had the foresight to forward these emails to my personal account, so I still have copies. However, the fact that they were removed from my district account in the first place is deeply troubling. I also want to note that I am not the only individual who has experienced this issue. I'm requesting an explanation as to how emails can be deleted in this manner. What safeguards are in place to prevent unauthorized removal of communications and whether any investigation will be conducted into this matter? The integrity and security of district communication systems are critical, especially when they involve concerns about governance and accountability. This situation raises serious questions that deserve clear and transparent answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Next speaker for Zoom.
We do. We have Jennifer Rader, and before we do, IT is letting me know that they're up, back and running, so people from YouTube can hear closed session.
Excellent. All right, Mr. Rader. Go ahead.
Sorry. That's all right. I decided to come back. Okay. Good evening, President Soto, board members, Interim Superintendent Villegas, and Cabinet. Thank you. I'm here tonight to ask for a clear public accounting of the ELOP funds, the Extended Learning Opportunities Program funds, that were intended to support expanded learning for our students beyond the regular school day and year. My understanding is that these funds were meant to support programs such as Beyond the Bell after school clubs and tutoring, Saturday school, and summer school. These are not extras. For many of our students, these programs provide academic intervention, enrichment, structure, supervision, and opportunities they may not otherwise have. But this year's summer school does not reflect an expanded learning model. It feels stripped down. We have classes with up to 30 students. We have combination classes. Art and music have been combined under one teacher instead of two. The resident substitute position has been eliminated. 2 campuses are sharing one PE teacher. Counselors are shared among multiple campuses. Pardon me. Special STEM classes have been eliminated, and classroom teachers are now expected to build STEM into our own programs. In addition, the art curriculum has only just arrived today. I know from personal experience that the Meet the Masters program requires substantial preparation. I do not have enough books for my current enrollment, and enrollment is still being accepted through Friday, even though the summer school started yesterday. That raises serious concerns. Where are the ELOP funds going? How much money did the district receive for ELOP this year? How much was allocated specifically for after-school clubs, tutoring, Saturday school, and summer school? How much was spent directly on student services, staffing, curriculum, and enrichment? And how much has been redirected elsewhere? I'm not here to accuse anyone of wrongdoing. I'm here to ask for transparency. Teachers are being asked to do more with less, while students are receiving less than what these programs were supposed to provide. If there are budget constraints, staffing shortages, or compliance issues driving these decisions, then the public deserves to hear that clearly. Our students were promised expanded opportunities. Right now, what we are seeing feels like reduced opportunities. So I'm respectfully asking the district to provide a detailed accounting of ELOP funds and a clear explanation for why summer school has been reduced in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
That concludes tonight's speakers.
All right. Moving on to the adoption of the minutes, I move that we adopt the minutes. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
We'll take the votes. Ms. LeVay?
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Crier, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
So do I. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to public hearing for business services on the proposed fiscal year of 26-27. We'll open the public hearing at 7:37 p.m. And then, yeah. Anyone wants to speak on the proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget, this is the opportunity for the public hearing. Anyone can come up. Anyone online who would like to speak on this public hearing, please raise your hand. All right, there's no discussion. We'll close it at 7:38. All right, we'll move on to the educational services public hearing for the LCAP. We'll open it up at 7:38. Anyone on Zoom, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak on the local control and accountability plan. This is the opportunity. No discussion.
President
Yes.
Soto, I did want to just say something.
Yep.
The LCAP is a long document. It's like 300 pages. I'm not going to read through all that, but I do know that I did come to several LCAP meetings, and if I don't want it now, but if we could have a brief, what input that was taken at the meetings was put in there, because I think the parents and staff would like to see if what we discussed is in there. I'm not gonna look through 300 pages, though I'm on break. I'm off duty when I'm at home. But if you could just share that somehow with like a memo or a highlight, because those who came would like to know that their input was being used. Not all of the ideas are going to be used, but like to see what was used. And that's all I've got.
I was just going to say that I think we could do that, and in fact, we could probably highlight that at the next meeting when we do the presentation as well. We can make the presentation highlight some of those input that we got from our community and what that looks like in the LCAP. But we can put something in writing maybe as well.
All right. Any other more discussion? We'll close the discussion at 7:40. Moving on to the consent agenda. We're taking items 1 through 40. Before we do that, is there any trustees who want to pull an item? Trustee Kraus?
Yes, thank you, President Soto. Number 2, 24, 33, and 34. So 2, 24, 33, and 34. That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Stewart?
I have none.
VP Kyer?
I have none at this time.
And I have none. I motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of 2, 24, 33, and 34. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
We'll take the vote. Ms. Levine?
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer,
Crier, I.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, aye. Motion passes 4-0. Going back to the items removed from the consent agenda. I motion that we approve consent item 12.2. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
We will open it up for discussion. Trustee Kraus?
Yes, thank you, President Soto, and members of the board, and everyone with us this evening. I've always had many questions posed to me about our conference request and the process. So, Dr. Villegas, this evening I'm just going to verbalize what my understanding is, and if you can tell me if it's correct or if there's any changes, I sure appreciate it for transparency and accountability to our community on how these conference requests come about and how they end up at the end of the day after someone goes to a conference. So it's my understanding that a staff member puts in for a conference request to the superintendent's office or their administrator, and then the conference request before us this evening, as an example, is what comes to the board prior to going to a conference. And then the board then approves or doesn't approve a conference request, potentially on the consent agenda. At that point in time, that is the only time the board sees a conference request prior to someone going to a conference. It's my understanding, because I've been to several conferences within the district, and so I'm very familiar with this, but for the sake of transparency, then when someone comes back from a conference, they submit what is called a conference reimbursement form. Perhaps they spent money on mileage. Perhaps they spent money on dinners that are allowable under the Ed Code to be reimbursed.
But that conference reimbursement form always comes after a conference and never is given to the board for approval. The board has never seen, or when I was CBO or superintendent, ever seen a conference reimbursement form come to the board. So we don't even see those. They go to the administrator, they're then approved, and then they go to accounts payable to be approved. Now, there could be a warrant listing, which would then say mileage reimbursement for an employee, as this evening we have our purchase order and warrant listings. But my understanding is the only time a board member or anyone else knows somebody's going to a conference is on the conference request form, and that's it. And if you're not on the conference request form, there's really no way for anybody to know somebody went or didn't go to a conference or is going to a conference. So I want to just, that's my understanding for sake of transparency and accountability. Has the process changed, do you know, Dr. Villegas, or is there something that, maybe I'm not familiar with? I'm just trying to make sure that it's clear, because we've had discussions about the Ron Clark Academy in the past, how that did not come on the agenda or how it gets, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of questions came up about how do we do a conference request? When does the conference reimbursement form come into play? Who sees what? So I appreciate any insight you might just be.
Yeah, certainly, and I may ask some of the team to jump in on this, but as you described, that's a general way that it is done. Certainly, there's some steps in between there. So, for example, you have someone requests going to a conference to their site administrator, that then requests is given to their the various people in ed services, let's say, for example, or the person that oversees the site principal. They make sure that there's allocation of funds and that the funds that are being used are used correctly. So, for example, in one scenario that you're describing, that particular conference, names were submitted that weren't authorized to be, the funding source wasn't authorized for classified employees, for example, let's just say, because it was on direct services to students in that particular conference. The money that was being used was earmarked specifically for direct services. So certain individuals wouldn't be able to be paid for through that resource. So then the site administrator would then have to look at different resources that's allowable to use that. But the process stays the same, and then it would come to the board once it's been verified that the monies are available and that the monies are in fact allowable for the use of that particular conference. And then it is approved. And then when they go to the conference, if there are additional costs, there is that reimbursement. And you're right, you would see it in the warrants. There would be a warrant that says for mileage or for whatever it would be, that would come after the fact, because we really have no way of really knowing how much money would be spent on a particular. We can get an estimate and have a sense this is what it's going to cost for budgeting purposes, but we don't really know for sure what's the dollar amount.
No, and I appreciate that. And again, I support all of our staff going to conference for professional development, the Ron Clark Academy, for example. We've got some more classified staff on the agenda this evening, which is, to join their colleagues. I think we at the last board meeting approved some of their colleagues on the certificated side to go. So I just got some questions, and I know that you and your team have also been doing some behind the scenes education on how conference requests work and the whole process. So I do want to say thank you to you for that, because there was a lot of questions regarding that. And so, again, thank you for your explanation this evening. That's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Stewart,
I have none.
VP Kyer,
I have none.
and I have none. We'll take the votes. Ms. Levine,
Trustee Kraus.
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer.
Kyer, I.
Trustee Stewart.
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, I. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to item number 12.24, I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kraus,
Kraus.
Kraus, I second.
We'll open it up for discussion. Trustee Kraus,
No discussion, just pull to vote. Thank you.
Trustee Stewart,
I have none.
VP Kyer,
None.
I have none. Ms. LeVay, the vote, please.
Trustee Kraus.
Kraus, nay.
Trustee Kyer.
Kyer, I.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, I. Motion passes 3-1. Moving on to 12.33, I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
Any discussion? Trustee Kraus,
No.
Trustee Stewart,
I have none.
VP Kyer,
None.
and I have none. Ms. LeVay, the vote, please.
Trustee Kraus.
Abstain?
Trustee Kyer.
Kyer, I.
Trustee Stewart.
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, aye. Motion passes 3-1. All right, moving on to new business. Discussion, possible direction.
34.
Oh, 34. Oh, thank you. I motion that we approve 34. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
Any discussion, Trustee Kraus?
Yes, thank you, President Soto. And Dr. Villegas, hopefully you and your team will be able to answer some of these questions. And if not, I do apologize, and I'll be more than happy to defer them possibly to another time. But this is a very large dollar amount as well. And so I do appreciate you and your team in the past answering questions. This evening, I know Dr. Valdez is not with us this evening. Our thoughts are with her, but she would probably have some of these answers as well. But I appreciate it. Okay. All right. This is for the EPIC contract, for example, for speech language pathologists, speech language assistants, and what have you. And first, let me say, for the record, that I support our special education families and our students. I always have, and I want to make it clear that I will continue to do so. Not only that, but a little girl who's now in special education after our accident receives daily speech therapy. She has not spoken since the accident. She is learning to speak again now that she is 7, 2 years, and we haven't heard her say anything. She has an IEP and she gets door-to-door transportation, so I'm very familiar and very supportive of special education. I want to make that clear. This evening before us, we have the facilitator agreement, which is an agreement that comes from our purchasing department. We also have attached the rate sheet. What we don't have attached, that was attached on July 11th of 2024, is the actual contract with EPIC. If you go back to July 11th, 2024 agenda, there was a contract on there for $500,000. That was 2 years ago. Fast forwarding to now, the contract before, well, the item before us, the agenda item, went from 500,000 to 2.5 million in a stance of 2 years. One of my concerns, and I know it's been talked about, is that all of these staff are remote. They do not attend our school sites. They do not come to our school sites. They do their speech remotely. Also, one of the concerns that I have, and I don't know if you know the answer, are they dedicated just to our district, or are they shared with other districts when they're doing their services? For example, for what you're about to hear in a moment here about the cost, is a question that I have: are they shared? Since they don't come on site, they can sit at home or wherever and work for many entities, for example. So that's a question that I had. But one of the things I did before this evening is I went to the EPIC website. And I said, if I wanted to work for EPIC, what would I have to do and how much would they pay me? So when I looked at their rate sheet for a speech language pathologist, it's on their website, it's public knowledge. Their max is $54 an hour, tops, on their website. So if I applied for EPIC and wanted to work for them, they'd pay me $54 an hour. That equates to $432 a day. And this is rounded figure, 180 days of the school year, about 77,760. I then even just been generous and I threw in $22,000 for health and welfare. So if I work for them directly, $54 an hour, 180 days, even with the $22,000 health and welfare, I'm under $100,000. That's how much that they would basically pay me in salary and benefits, okay, if I was at the top of their salary scale. Now, the rate sheet attached this evening, the top pay is $125 an hour. They're going to pay me $54. They're going to charge the district $125 an hour. Now, that's $1,000 a day that this company's making off of me as one of their employees. But I'm only making $432 a day. Okay? 180 days for one speech language pathologist, according to the rate sheet at the top of their schedule, is making $180,000 a year. But they're not. Somebody else is. But me as a slipper, at the top of my game, I'm only making, and generously, $99,760. So I have to question where the other $80,000 is going. That's just one person, one speech language pathologist that EPIC is providing to the district. You can't well, they can't sit here and tell the taxpayer in Adelanto that it costs $80,000 for somebody to sit at home remotely and provide speech and language pathology services. I don't care how good you are. Somebody is making bank on the taxpayers and somebody is benefiting. And it's not our students, in my opinion, of the Adelanto Elementary School District, because the numbers don't lie. And I just wanted to bring that to the attention this evening because it was shocking to me and many others that brought it to my attention. And I appreciate all those that do the math like I do and look at this and say, how in the world can they charge $2.5 million and only pay their people who are remote $100,000 a year? And that's like a speech language pathologist. The speech language pathologist assistants are paid even less, but yet we're billed even more. So I'm just curious to know if at any point in time Epic could come to the board meeting and justify where that extra money's going. And the other concern is, and I know you're going to address this with your team, we heard about an RFPs this evening. On this agenda, there's 10, 12, whatever how many RFPs, requests for proposals from various organizations. There's a process of selecting those organizations. But here's the interesting fact. Epic never went through an RFP. There was never an RFP done to select a speech language pathology company or the providing the services that they provide. So if there's no competition, in America we call it a monopoly. And in a monopoly, you can charge whatever you want because there is no competition, right? So I bring these points up because as a board member, I am fully supportive of our special education community, but at the same time, I have a fiduciary duty, especially when we're in a budget crisis, as we've talked about up here, to look at all contracts, including Epic, and ascertain, are we really getting fleeced here, so to speak, on this? Because I'll tell you what, on one person, if every person that they provide to us, they're making $80,000, somebody over at Epic's making a good salary. I'd love to maybe be their CEO and make whatever they're paying their people. But anyway, nonetheless, it's just an interesting point that I wanted to make this evening. And I know you may not have the answers to what I brought up, but I just wanted to make them up for the sake of accountability and transparency.
I do appreciate the the questions and the opportunity to respond to them, and yeah, I think there's a lot of answers to those questions. I think what we are looking at is that there is a very high demand for speech language pathologists in the entire state, actually in the entire country. It's one of the jobs that is the most difficult to find, and so we in our district, as you know, have not been able to find those people with those types of credentials that can serve as our students. That's a problem throughout the state. So we've had to go to the agencies to get the appropriate support that our students need, because by law, by IDEA, we are required to have speech and language pathologists because of the what it says in the IEP. And so that sets up the why we need them, and the fact that we've really tried to recruit, but it hasn't happened yet. And I think we want to continue to find efforts to recruit. Now, what we could look at, if we were paying our own SLPs, we wouldn't be paying them $54 an hour. We would be paying them a whole lot more money. So by us, when we're talking about that, that's an interesting set of facts, but it isn't really what we need to look at. We need to look at what we would be paying them and what we're actually paying. That's a much closer analogy of what we were looking at. And so I do think that it's a good question as to what happens to the difference, but that's a business model. And I think it would be a good question to find out, but I think so. We would want to look a little bit closer as to where that money goes and what happens at that. But again, that's their business model. What we are more concerned is how much would we pay if we were paying an employee, and how much are we paying them? Because if we had employees, we'd have statutory benefits, retirement, all the pieces that go to that, in addition to their annual salary, and we'd have obligations as well for various purposes. Having said that, we would love to have employees that were SLPs. We just have not been able to find those. And so I would love to be able to have a more thorough analysis of the numbers. And I would love to be able to provide an RFP for the future. I don't know why that wasn't the case. That's something that I just kind of fell into right now, as you know. And I think it's a really good idea for us looking forward to have a competitive bidding process to make sure that the prices that we're getting are in fact the going rate and for the services that we're getting. And unfortunately, and it's really unfortunate for the students that need the services, you're absolutely 100% right. Services on virtual services for speech is not the best way to go. But that's right now what we have. Would you be able to respond, add to that, Mr. Shefflin, please?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Villegas. And in response to Trustee Kraus, your question about are they just working for our district? Yeah, they're excluded just for our district.
Great.
That's
Well, thank
I
you
think
for that.
Dr. Villegas answered pretty much the rest of that. So well done, sir. Yeah, we've had that since 2017, and that process was not in place at the time. So.
And I just had one follow-up question, Dr. Vegas. I appreciate it. Our speech language pathologist and Mr. Hans here, are they on the ADTA salary schedule? Are they on a separate salary schedule, or are they? Where do they fall when it comes to? No, like if we hired one directly, where do they fall?
So it is ADTA, yes. Yeah, and so it is part of the collective bargaining agreement through ADTA.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I was looking at this ADTA salary schedule earlier, and it's around step 12, which would be what, again, if my math's correct, what Epic pays their people. It would be step 12 in our district to hire somebody around 100,000 minus the benefits, but just looking at that. So I do appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
No, but you have a commitment from us to make sure that we are out there looking for SLPs. We want to build relationships with the colleges and universities that are providing these programs. We want to make sure that we're out there recruiting and get people who would like to come work for us, because I do agree 100% that it would be the best possible outcome if we were able to have our own SLPs.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and it reminded me of something else that I was going to make a comment on. Have we asked our teachers who might be interested in going through a speech language pathology program or or classified speech language assistant, whatever the classification is? I would say out of about 400 teachers, there might just be a few. I don't know. Just something to think about as a district to support and grow our own.
Love that idea.
But still look outside.
Love that
well
idea. That's a great idea. I think it's something we can look into.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's all the questions, comments I had on this item. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. Trustee Stewart?
When it comes to speech, of course, in case you guys didn't notice, I stutter. I have gone to speech all through my K through 12 in all the schools that I've gone to. And I built relationships with those. So when it comes to speech, wow. But I don't appreciate the negativity that you spoke about this. The speeches needed. We have the highest sped population in the high desert compared to all the other districts, and we have to meet those needs. Yes, I would love if we could hire our own, but it isn't out there. So for you youngins, if you want job security, there you go. Redlands has a speech where you can get all your certification there. But I believe that we do need to use this until in the long run we could get our own. It does work. I just, when I'm in high stress like this, it kicks up and acts up. It's like a little troll. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. VP Kyer?
Yes, I'll make my comments brief to this evening. As this rolls back onto our agenda this upcoming year, I resort to thinking about my comments from last year when this contract was in front of us as well. and the inquiry whether or not we are being active and how we are being active and what steps we are taking to recruit and hire our own speech and language therapists. So if I could respectfully ask Dr. Villegas or cabinet to kind of enlighten our board on what steps we are taking, what avenues we have explored in regards to, you know, looking for potential employees to come in and speak or to work with our students, just so that we as a board and the public are aware of what HR is doing.
Sure, Mr. Schiffler will respond to that.
Sure, thank you. So we do actively recruit and adjoin like everybody else, but we also partner with Cal State San Bernardino's and the universities for that recruitment purposes because we know there is a need and there's a deficit of those employees out there.
Okay, are we offering any kind of incentive to recruit?
We haven't spoken about incentive, but it might be a good idea. But they just right now with the opportunity for them to work for organizations like Epic and to be online, they choose not to be in person in a sense. So incentive would be an option, a possibility.
But what we could do as well is I think in addition to what Mr. Schiffler talked about is I think some great ideas were brought up right here. So I think we would want to start making strides to trying to do things outside the box. And what are some other things we can do, like incentivizing through either fiscal incentives or maybe through incentivizing our teachers that maybe are interested in that and seeing how could we get them to go down that path. I think those are really good options that we could continue to look at and developing, even greater partnerships with other universities and being able to have some of the intern programs perhaps. But what I would suggest is that maybe we report to the board every quarter at least, and we say these are the things that we've done. This is how successful we've been in the recruitment process, or not successful, and that we can pivot. But that way, the board on an ongoing basis. So, 12 months from now, it's not a surprise. You know what we've tried, and you know what's worked and what's not worked, and hopefully we will make some strides moving forward. But I think if we at least keep the board apprised of what we're doing, whether it's through some communication or to let the public know, we could do that to help the board fully understand what the steps we're taking.
Okay. And then one additional question is anyone able to answer why this was not sent out for RFP and whose responsibility it would have been to have that request for proposal drafted and put out?
Not sure what about that right now. I think that this has been I mean, I guess 12 months ago, I don't know if it went in an RFP, so it might have been one of those things where they just continued with the last provider that's been the provider for, I understand, a few years. So in hindsight, and I've shared that with many of you, we should have gone through an RFP process, and if that's what the board would like us to do, we can still do that. And I think we can establish that and say, okay, we can go and see if there's a wondering of other better prices out there and that kind of thing. We can take a look at that. I don't know if there's I haven't personally gone out to bid to know whether there's a lot of companies that do this. I don't know anything about Epic. I just came to know them very recently with the services they provide, and frankly through the process of this conversation. So don't know the answer to that, and being fairly new, 3 months and 10 days.
We do appreciate you taking on a lot.
I haven't, don't know who's responsible for that, but I'll say this: at the end of the day, I'm responsible, and so I can say that from this point on, I'm the one that would be responsible for that, and I'll take responsibility moving forward. And if the board chooses for us to do that, I don't mind doing that. We we could expedite it, go 10 days, do what we need to do, see if we get some proposals or requests for proposals, and we could bring this back, in sometime, hopefully the next 2 weeks. If not, then it would have to be in July sometime. But we do need those services.
Definitely, definitely. I do appreciate your input and feedback on these topics, Dr. Villegas and Mr. Shiflett, and answering our questions. That's all I have tonight.
Excellent conversations and dialogue. Yes, whether I've been on the minority or in the majority, there's always been that consistency in ensuring that we're investing in our people and ensuring that we're not outsourcing as much. So I will continue to echo those sentiments. Obviously, this is a service that we need for special ed, so I think that's something that is being considered, and it sounds like we will be moving forward with an RFP process so that we have competitive bidding and we get the best of the best. All right.
I'm sorry. So we're gonna vote on this item, right?
Yes. Yes. We're
not
just
giving
discussing.
We're not gonna go ahead and just right now change and do an RFP, right? Because I don't think it's gonna be time.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, what's on the agenda is to approve the contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a first and a second. Okay. Any more discussion, colleagues? We'll take the vote. Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
Soto, aye. Motion passes 4-0. All right. New business. Discussion and possible direction regarding community listening sessions and pilot program. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer.
All right. We'll open it up for discussion. I'll tee up the item before we open it up. So, during the professional development that I invest my time to go and learn how to be an effective and board member, we learned about community listening sessions. So I'm bringing this item forward so that the board would consider implementing it into its formal governance calendar. This is an opportunity for the public and for the board to be able to engage with the community. Here at the board meetings, we can't go back and forth. We cannot do any dialogues. So this would be hopefully trying to address that and allow us to have that conversation. So that's my comment. We'll open up for discussion. Trustee Kraus.
Yes, thank you, President Soto, for that explanation on there. I think it's a great idea. As you stated, it's difficult sometimes to engage with the public on agenda items, on public comments, concerns that they have. And so I think that I liken this to maybe coffee with a superintendent or something like that. There's been a lot of those that districts do, but I think it's great for board members as well. A question I had, so in your thinking about this, it would be a couple of board members at a time in order to not violate the Brown Act, right? And so maybe somehow there would be a decision of which two board members, which area, those kind of things, and then set up the meetings. Is that kind of what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Kraus, for the comment and the question. Yeah, I think it would be good for us to pilot it first. But the ultimate vision is yes, that each trustee in their area would be able to host a community session, a community listening session.
Thank you. I have no other questions. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Trustee Stewart.
What do you mean by pilot?
So just to get feedback before we actually formalize it and put it into our governance calendar. I mean, we can move forward and implement it now, but the pilot would just be trying it out and seeing, and on the agenda item, we would report back to the entire board how it went, things that could have gone better, the attendance, and that way we could have a formal discussion if we want to put it into our governance calendar, and then trustees would be able to host their own listening sessions.
And how would you choose where to pilot it?
So we would thank you for the question. We would most likely do it on sites, school sites. There was an idea also of doing it at a public event like a park or even at the pool. I don't know the logistics of that, but basically district property, school sites.
Okay. I do just have one slight concern. This is an election year, where three trustees are up for election, and I kind of see that as campaigning. Something like this would be good for a non-election year, I believe, which would be like next year, and then the year, it's staggers years. We could have done this last year where there was no election, but that's just my point of view.
Thank you. VP Kyer?
Alrighty. Good evening. You know, I believe that incorporating community listening sessions into our governance calendar is important. One thing that President Soto and I have collaborated a lot on is how we get community back into our district. We're a public district, we represent the public, but if we never make time to hear from them, who are we representing? Who are we dealing with? What do they want? We have emphasized our drive to committees. We've emphasized our drive to making sure our parents, our students, our teachers have a voice at our table. Allow us to hear what you want. Election year or not, I think it's essential that we start creating practices long term that allow our district, our public, to collaborate for the future of our students. And so I am in a large support of this moving forward, having these discussions on a regular basis built into our governance standards. So I will leave my comments at that. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Kyer. I'll second that, and I think I would just want to give. I want to point out, Trustee Stewart, you had a good point about the perception and the optics, so I appreciate you sharing those thoughts. I will also add that this is something that I've been advocating for months ago. Actually, even I'm on record actually advocating for community listening sessions months ago. So I just, to me, I hear the concerns and I appreciate it. But that, and it's something that um, something I've learned being a board member that school boards do. What, like VP Kyer said, whether it's an election year or not, our constituents, our bosses need to hear from us. So that's why I'm bringing it forward. So, yeah, that's all I have. Do we have any more discussion?
Yes, President Soto, I do have a comment. I wanted to piggyback on what Clerk Stewart mentioned, her concern about it being an election year. And I think that if we move forward, we would want to ensure that the three trustees up would all receive an equal share of listening session time, for example, right? Like we wouldn't want to put 3 or 4 in one and 2 in the other, or vice versa, or what have you. We'd want to make sure that each area is given an adequate, equal amount of sessions and then time as well. And I don't know how we would, consider that, for example, because I don't want there to be the perception that one area trustee is favored over another. For example, we give one on a Friday night, knowing good and well nobody's going to come out on a Friday night, as an example, right? I'm not saying we would do that, but just so whoever would be working on the ideas on this, that's just something to take into consideration for, just equal share time for the 3 seats that are up, just to maybe work on that concern. So she did bring up a valid concern. Clerk Stewart did.
Yeah. Anything else? Dr. Villegas, did you want to add anything?
Well, I just want to know what support you would need if this was to go through. What support would you need from me or my staff in order to make this happen? I'd like to have that, be aware of that, so I can know how we can best support that from happening. I think what Mr. Krause said, Trustee Krause said right now regarding equal and balanced approach to this would make a lot of sense. I do want to say one thing. we are going to be in the midst of a superintendent search in the near future, which will also have some community input sessions. And so that's part of the existing. Once the final superintendent is selected, there will also probably be another listening and learning kind of tour as well. So um, just keeping those things in mind as these things as you consider these as well, in terms of the impact to the community. But as it relates to this particular piece, I'd like to know what kind of support would the board need in order for us to make that happen.
I'll just speak for myself. We'll probably just need to learn about the procedure to host a listening session at a school site, how the logistics of that. We would probably just need the support of that, and perhaps if we decide to move forward with this, and the support of a format. I think that depending on what the consensus is of the board, um, the board president, myself, and the VP, we would get with you and your staff to figure out how we could support each other in the listening sessions, and that way we're on the same page.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
So the district always hosts LCAP meetings, the DLAC, the school sites, and I've been to a few of those where I've come. Maybe for now we could piggyback off of those, because those are held here at the district, and kind of have our own little part where then the public is, they know what the board does, what the procedures, because we do want engagement. I know prior to running for the board, I didn't know what a board was. I came to one board meeting, and then somebody said, why don't you run for the board? And I said, well, we'll see what happens. So I'm thinking if we're gonna do this, because each year throughout the year there are all these parent groups. We've got the African American parent groups, the ELL parent groups, the school site council groups, and they tend to meet here, not all the time, but a lot. We could just piggyback on that, and then see how it goes, and then think about then going to school sites.
That's a good idea.
And you're fed when you come to those things, just so you know.
Okay. So so it sounds like there's a general consensus that we're interested in doing this, Dr. Villegas, and so then it sounds like we'll give direction that we'll meet, and we'll figure out what we want to give to the board at the next meeting in terms of a formal, how it's going to look like. And
So I can give some options of what those could look like based on what I heard today, and share that with the board and the communication. And then if board chooses to talk about those, they can. At least they have some sense of what are some options. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Very well.
All right. Awesome. Moving on to number 2, business services, approve and adopt the second reading of ordinance number 252623. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. LeVay, the vote, please.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Crier, I.
Trustee Stewart? Trustee Soto?
Soto, aye. Motion passes 4-3, 4-0. Moving on to educational services, the MOU with Think Together, before, after school, and non-instructional days. Before I move to that agenda item, I'm actually going to be recusing myself because I do have a conflict of interest. And to protect the integrity of the process, I will be stepping out of the room. So I will be handing it over to our vice president.
Alrighty, moving on to 14.3 in new business, the approval of the MOU with Think Together for the comprehensive before school, after school, and non-instructional day programs. I motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Kraus, I'll second.
All right, furthermore, do we have any comments or discussion? Trustee Kraus.
Yes, thank you, Vice President Kyer. First, I want to thank everyone that came out tonight with AYA to speak on the program that's before us this evening, the MOU with Think Together. I understand your passion. I understand what you all have went through with your children, the parents that were here, the staff that were here. I've seen many times the parades, been involved with the parades, seen all the cheer, absolutely spectacular. I've had an opportunity to visit sites and see in the past and see the work in the after school programs that AYA has done. And I understand your frustration with this item this evening. I do have to say, again, even when I was here, I don't think there was a more robust process done by Dr. Lee. I have to brag on her, although I was not involved in this process whatsoever, to select somebody to present to the board. And the way this works is the board has no input to Dr. Villegas, to the selection team, to anybody at the end of the day until it comes to us this evening. I saw the agenda item when it came out to the draft agenda. We usually get the draft agenda on Thursdays. The way it works with the board, before the Friday that it was published would have been last Friday. And so that was the opportunity for us to, or for me to talk to Dr. Villegas, ask questions. But as far as that, the extent of the process for me has been very, very limited. No influence, no opinion, no anything other than what I've heard this evening from all sides, all parties related to this item. I do want to thank some people that sent emails in as well to the board about that, about their concerns or support one way or the other for the organizations, whether it was Think Together or AYA this evening. Really, I appreciate staff's diligence in it, and one of the things that I've always believed in, unless there's something to the contrary, that's really to the contrary, is when staff or the interim superintendent or superintendent make recommendations to the board. It's usually with good cause, and they've really vetted and spent an exorbitant amount of time and energy into reviewing all sides related to this RFP or many of the other RFPs that come to the board. And so I do want to thank Dr. Villegas as well for his input with the board after this agenda item was published last Friday. I did ask questions and about the process and things of that nature, because once it's published and it's finalized, it's finalized. There can be no changes. So anytime a board agenda comes out on a Friday afternoon at 5:30, that's it. So we can ask questions on Saturday, Sunday. Dr. Villegas gives us that opportunity, but we still have no influence over who and how and why. And so I know there's been a lot of questions about that, and I appreciate President Soto this evening handing it over to Vice President Kyer for the sake of transparency this evening as well. But I do want to say that I have no dog in the fight, no interest in any of these vendors other than what staff recommends this evening, Vice President Kyer. So I appreciate you allowing me to give some comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Stewart?
Well, I knew that this was going to be on here, and I've been flip-flopping the whole time. There's been a lot of change in the district, and I was like, why can't we just work with AYA? Why can't we set a high stand? And if there's more we want, like more emphasis on the education, why can't we just tell them this is what we want? And if they don't meet it, then we switch. you know, it would be nice to do a 1-year extension. I don't know if that's possible, and then see how it goes, you know. But I do hear you. I like them both. You know, I don't want to put to disparage the effort that was brought through the committee because it was rigorous. But then again, you know, we've gotten the emails. I hear you. So I think we should, you know, we'll see how the vote goes.
Alrighty, I will make my comments short this evening. As a parent of AYA, my child did participate numerous years in her elementary school. She loved it. She loved partaking in it. As a parent, I support AYA. As a elected official, somebody who is required to listen to their public to make sure that the process is transparent, to make sure that we have the committees in place that vet, go through, etc. I do want to extend my gratitude to the district, to Dr. Lee and her team, and ultimately to each and every parent, teacher, principal who partook in this committee, who sat down and vetted not 3, not 5, but I want to say it was like 30 some different companies, all of them with proposals. The time and dedication to that committee, to our students, to moving forward, I do want to extend my gratitude at this time. If there's no further comments, I will ask Madame Levay to please take the vote.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, nay.
Okay. At this time, vote fails 2-1.
No, it passes.
No, we don't have the majority of the governing board at this time. So it will die at 2-1, and it does not pass. Moving on, do we want to call President Soto back?
Thank you, Madam VP. Moving on to the approval of the MOU of increase in health welfare benefit cap. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer.
We'll take the vote. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. VP Kyer. I apologize. Go ahead.
I apologize. That was a little, but I did want to take a quick second and see if Interim Superintendent Dr. Villegas could shed some light into this agenda item for our public and our employees as we will be voting on it tonight.
Absolutely. So we're looking at the welfare cap, correct? Yes. So as has been mentioned, there's been increases in benefit costs, and it's an ongoing increase on a regular basis. And so this is part of a negotiation item that has been agreed upon with our association to increase their cap. Typically, we have what cap means that it's a limited amount of contribution that we give towards the benefits for our employees. This is for classified employees. And so for this year, because there was an increase for them substantial, we have increased their cap for 1 year. The idea is for 1 year. It's a 1 year memorandum to help them meet that difference of the increase. And so that this allows our classified employees not to have additional out-of-pocket expenses for this year. And we'll see what happens in future years, but this is for 1 year only, and for it's an increase in our contribution to the cap, which covers for most employees will cover the entire amount.
Okay, perfect. So in summary, we're increasing the cap to help maintain low cost or no paid insurance for our employees.
Right.
Thank you.
Classified employees.
Okay. Sorry about that. That was actually a good question. Anything else, colleagues? All right.
You're gonna cut me off.
All right. We'll take the vote, Miss LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
So do I. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to the PERB settlement agreement with the AESD and the California School Employee Association, Chapter 451. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
All right. Any discussion? Trustee Kraus.
Yes. I'm glad I don't have to say anything like Vice President Kyer, but that was scary. But on this item, I do appreciate it coming before us this evening. For those of you that may not know, PERB is a acronym for the Public Employee Relations Board, and several meetings over the past few months. Appreciate Mr. Jason Turkhurst on behalf of CSEA coming to our board meetings, expressing his concerns with items related to PERB. They should never make it to PERB, in my opinion. I'm just one trustee, but when a classified bargaining unit or a certificated bargaining unit have a grievance or a concern, in my opinion, the best way to solve it is at the lowest level possible, usually at the district level. However, what we have before us this evening, and I believe this is one of two, I believe there are two cases at PERB. This was one of those that, in my opinion, could have been solved before it made it. And the gist of this is that they are retro paying classified members 5% if they did basically 2 jobs over a period of time without a substitute. That has historically been the agreement in place for positions like classified positions if there's not a sub provided to them. And so because of the fact that they are doing double duty, basically. And so when you look at this item before us this evening, it settles that, and it gives classified employees, and hopefully a memo has went out by the district and by CSEA, letting them know, because this is a time-sensitive item. CSEA employees that feel that they did not get that 5% that they may have been entitled to have 60 days from today. Now, a lot of our classified employees are off for the summer. So I hope that there is a good communication given to classified employees in general that may be a part of this so that they can then apply, or whatever the process is, to potentially receive that extra 5% based on the parameters in here. And then the other comment I wanted to make is that I hope this is retro, meaning it's behind us. We're solving an issue that was brought up in the past. But I hope that there will be language or some kind of this is, again, retro. What are we doing in the future? So to ensure that there's not another PERB complaint, or that employees that have someone in their department potentially not there, I hope that there potentially will be discussions about, hey, when this happens, here's how you apply for that 5%. Here's the parameters that would give you that 5% if you're eligible for it, so that, again, there's no misunderstanding, because we want our classified employees and certificated to feel valued and to feel like we're here for them and to listen to them. And again, I want to thank Mr. Jason Turkhurst and Diane Lynn, the president of the local chapter of CSEA, for advocating on behalf of the classified employees to bring this to the board this evening. And that's all the comments I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. Trustee Stewart?
I have none.
VP Kyer?
Good evening. All right. So I do want to share with everyone still in our audience, this is a rarity for this board. In fact, in the almost 4.5 years I've been on this board, I think this is one of my first board meetings where I still have people in the audience to speak to, and I'm just not talking to myself. So, welcome. I'm so excited you are all still with us this evening. We have a lot of changes going on in Adelanto Elementary School District, and I'm really excited to kind of speak with everyone about it. As you've heard tonight, yes, we have been pushing the RFP processes, the committees, bringing our community together, really emphasizing the need for everyone's voices. The other thing I would like to comment on is, yes, we have brought to the board, we've had discussions about the changes going on. So this evening we did see.
I'm so sorry. Are you speaking about the item?
No.
We're on perp. Yeah, we're talking about.
Never mind. I have no more comments.
Proof of pride.
I got so excited.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any, so we'll get there. We'll take the vote. Ms. LeVay?
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer, I.
Trustee Stewart,
Squirreled.
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, aye. Motion passes. Now we're going on to board member reports and announcements. Did you want to start, VP Kyer, this time?
Can I just pick up where I left off?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have seen a lot of changes. I apologize for that. I'm up here twiddling my pen, and I did really get excited to see all the faces that are still with us. So moving on, we have made these changes to the agenda. We did move closed session to the beginning this evening. Typically, we do not walk down from closed session some nights till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So I would definitely like to express my gratitude to President Soto and Dr. Villegas, as clearly this new idea coming in has shown some kind of efficacy. We are at 8:39, and I might actually make it home before 9:30 tonight. With that being said, we did close the school year. We had some amazing, fantastic graduations. I had the pleasure of attending a few. And then I also loved the amount of celebration for our students across social media. We definitely got to see a number of different graduations, and then how the schools kind of facilitated it and broadcasted it. I think it's especially important for our public to see what each different school offers, along with the programs and the individuals that are at those schools. So I do want to make a shout out to all of our school sites for making the end of the year special, celebrated, and inclusive to all of our parents. I know that Dr. Villegas worked really hard with our staff to make sure that we weren't having too many graduations overlapping, to ensure parents the ability to go, if they got to go to a middle school one and an elementary school one, they had that ability this year. We didn't have to pick between kids. So I do really appreciate that. Moving forward, my understanding is we do have summer session. I do look forward to hearing some of the reports, walking around, seeing some of the school sites and what is going on at our summer school adventures. With that being said, I will stop getting so excited that it's not 9 a.m. and I will concede the rest of my comments.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much, VP Kyer. Trustee Kraus?
Yes, thank you, President Soto. Did Vice President Kyer say she wanted to stay till 10:30? Is that what I heard in there? All that excitement? No, it is exciting this evening, and I want to also piggyback on all of the congratulations to all of the students that were promoted to the next grade level or graduated from our school district, going on to another district, all the 8th graders that went on to their next school district. This year, I was not able to attend any of the promotions or graduations, including Victoria McGath, and I was not able to attend any of those, and so very disappointed. But hopefully in the future with Dr. Villegas, and maybe next year, be able to find the time and the ability to be able to go to those. So I hope all of our students are enjoying your summer. Speaking of which, our pool is open. Dr. Villegas was seen out there today, and Craig McAlpin, our consultant in business services, was also out there today checking on the lifeguards that we have. If you have not had an opportunity to look at the website, we have a reservation system. We do have lifeguards out there, and I appreciate our administration checking. You trust but verify. So I appreciate you going out there, Dr. Villegas and Mr. McAlpin, and checking on that to make sure that everything is on the up and up and that our families are enjoying our wonderful pool that is out there. Thank you to everyone that is still putting on summer school this month, all the teachers, staff, and parents, and transporting our students for that. Hopefully that, we will be able to look at that in the future
and make it more robust. As we heard this evening from Ms. Rader, and I appreciate Jennifer Rader coming up and expressing her concerns with the ELOP funds, how they're being used. I know there are some funds being used for summer school on the ELOP, but still, I think it's a great idea to look at Beyond the Bell, Saturday school, more robust summer school with funds that we potentially have, especially if they're grant funds. So thank you, Ms. Rader, for bringing that up as well. This evening, we also heard about there was some concern about the agenda and the changes. And as Vice President Kyer stated, we did move closed session. I do know Dr. Villegas and his team are working on a new format. We talked about, I think he talked about at the last board meeting, a potential draft and some of the changes in the order of our agendas for board meetings. And so hopefully that'll make it more efficient and give our families and staff an opportunity to be able to participate more. And like Vice President Kyer said, we don't get out of here sometimes in closed session till like 9 or 9:30. By that time, everybody should be hopefully in bed or getting ready to go to sleep. So we don't want that. We want public participation. Also, at the next board meeting, I know President Soto, you are working with Dr. Vegas on our board calendar so that the public will be aware of our board meetings for next fiscal year, which our fiscal year, for those of you that may not know, starts July 1st. So we've only got less than a month in this fiscal year, and that's why we had the budget hearing this evening. But I'm looking forward to seeing the dates and times proposed for our budget calendar, hopefully coming on the June, I believe, 26th board meeting for the board to discuss. One of the other things that I wanted to just mention is that we saw a lot of renewals this evening, Dr. Villegas, for school sites. And I don't want to let the cat out of the bag because I know you and your team are working on the administrative changes going on for several school sites next year. But I do hope that in those conversations, the people that are presenting the renewals now will at least take into account who's going to be there next year, if that makes sense. Because if I'm a new administrator at a school site, I don't want to just inherit something that maybe I could put off until I had time to really assess what that program is. I understand the things that need to be done, but just as your team is working on that, just those school sites that are going to potentially have some leadership changes. And I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to indicate without, again, letting the cat out of the bag, which schools those are for that. So, and then thank you to our budget committee that has been meeting and the fiscal department because we really want to look at our budget. And I know at the next board meeting, Mr. McAlpin and his team, Mr. Clemish, I'm assuming, will be presenting our budget for the next fiscal year, 26-27. And as we heard from Mr. Hahn this evening, talking about health and welfare, and the costs just keep going up. Not only that, but the COLA is never going to be enough with the inflationary pressures that are put on our staff, our management staff, our classified staff, our certificated staff. The price of fuel is not going down anytime soon. That's one of the pressures of that, and it's unfortunate that COLA doesn't seem to be going up to take that into account. The other thing about the budget that I hope everyone remembers for next year is that whatever the state budget is today, it's my guess, if I'm a betting man, it's going to be different next year. The reason being is there's an election coming up in November. We will have a new governor, and I can't say for sure that Governor Newsom, the current governor, did whatever he could to make it look pretty on his last year, but there is some talk that the next governor coming in will tear up his budget and do whatever he wants to do. And so it is a he because the only top two, that's why I wouldn't say he or she, the only top two are gentlemen. So whoever that governor will be potentially will affect our school site budgets across the state because they have the power to basically change whatever allocations. Governor Newsom said, well, here's what I want to do. New governor comes in and says, that's not what I want to do. So just I want everybody to keep that in mind because hopefully we can remain solvent as we move forward. And I appreciate all of the budget committee working together on that. So with that, thank you so much. That's everyone have a good evening. That's all I have, President Soto.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. Trustee Stewart.
So it is the end of the school year, and I did go to several promotions. I tend to go to the same ones. And I always say Victoria McGathin, you always rock it. I always like, you know, they're my favorite. I did go to George. El Mirage is such a small school they combine their eighth grade with the kinder. So they are the cutest little things that I want to take them and squeeze them and give them just smush them. But I also got to attend the promotions of the Hope and the Independent studies, and I am so proud of those students because they took the initiative to do their work. I went to Columbia's, and I also went to Melva's, and going to those, I got to see a few of my students who were in the fifth grade in my class, and got to see how tall they are and how short I am. And I wish them all the best. You know, we have them the most. They're here, most of them from K or TK through 8. And my goal as a board member is to make sure they are prepared for their next journey. You know, I've said this, but I'm going to keep saying, you know, they always talk bad about our town, about our school district, but that's not true, because we are the salt of the world. We are parents who work and care for our kids and want what's best for our kids. And we have staff that want to do their jobs wherever it is, at a school site or at the district. I hope that the superintendent search has started, to start the process, because I would like for us to pick somebody, you know, to start it, because we do, I feel, need more permanent leadership. You know, and with the budget being the mess it is, I think, you know, the departments did great on trying to cut back, and I believe that also the board should set the example and cut back as well. Each board member has a budget to go to conferences. We should be adhering to that, you know, and being mindful of the use of the board attorneys, because man, they rack up the bills. And I don't think it's fair that departments are cutting back, but the board is racking up bills. To me, that's a bit hypocritical. So, you know, hopefully this next school year we will be more mindful. Hopefully some summer school gets fixed, the staffing issues, the equipment issues, so that it runs best, because we do want that to be impactful as much as it can be. And I wish you all the best. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. I'll make my comments somewhat brief. I really just want to highlight our interim superintendent. You know, he came into a moving train, is what I told him. There's a lot of needed opportunities to improve in the district, and so he was tasked to come in and stabilize the district. So I really wanted to highlight our interim superintendent, the work that he's put in so far, and the level of commitment that he's shown to this district, to ensure that we continue to make strides in becoming one of the best districts in the county. There has been a lot of changes as well, positive changes. You know, the voters recomposed the board in 2024, and so we are continuing to deliver on that, um, on the change of the status quo per se. So we're committed, as a board, to ensuring that the district is stable, and we could have not done it without the interim we have in place, Dr. Villegas. So I really wanted to just highlight him and the work and the effort as we finish up the year, And so I wish you guys the best summer break. I hope we get some time to recharge and reset, and we'll see you at the next school year or next meeting. I also wanted to highlight our new hire from West Creek, our new principal. Tonight she was approved on the consent agenda, so I wanted to congratulate you and welcome you to our district. You can stand. Okay. All right, moving on to Dr. Villegas.
All right, well, thank you so much, and thank you for all of you that are here still at this hour. Really do appreciate the participation of our parents and community in these matters. And as has been said, we want to continue to dialogue and communicate, and we want what's best for our kids as much as you do. So we're working together to make that happen. Promotions were fantastic. I got a chance to be at several of them, and it really showed the spirit of what Adelanto is about. When you see the students coming to a culmination and end of their journey in a school, and it demonstrating the love and commitment that they have for the schools, and then the energy and love of education that I saw in the families that I got a chance to interact with was really amazing and very touching. And I thought that was just a wonderful experience for me to be part of. As has been said, summer school started. It only started yesterday. It feels like it's been going on for a while, but it's only yesterday, and it feels to me like we've been at it for a bit. But it's only 2 days. So if your students haven't yet gone because whatever reason they've signed up, please have them go. And what was said earlier, the pool. It was very nice to see the pool open and people there. The community and the kids were just so happy. They were giving fist bumps, and they were just. And the pool is cold. It's cold. It's really cold in the pool. I don't know how they can stay there, but it's actually really cold, and they're having a great time, and it's wonderful to see. And so, if you get a chance to enjoy it, please do. It's open from Tuesday to Saturday, 9 to 12, and then 1 to 4. And the morning session looked really empty, so I would say come then if you want to have more time to swim. And so as was said earlier, the agenda idea is I think we're going to try to pilot it next time around, which is really similar to what you saw today, which gets us to do closed session first thing, and then come down to be able to do the business of the board. And if there's anything that is not completed, then we would go back to closed session afterwards. Like, let's say that this was a regular meeting, we would close this meeting, and then we'd go back to close, finish whatever business needs to get done. But by that time, all the business has been taken care of. That allows for you to participate in a different way. And so that's what we're looking to do. So the projected time would be 5:30 to 6:30 would be when closed is. Then open session happens at 6:30, and that's when the rest of the business happens. And the meeting could end at 8. So it could work out. We're gonna test pilot that next time around. And so also the dates for the board meetings, we're going to be looking at those, and it's going to be a similar structure what we have planned for this year. So next year's meetings will be very similar. There's most months we do have 2 meetings, and there's a few months there that there's 1 meeting, as has been the tradition in the past. But looking forward to it. Enjoy your summer. It's going by too fast, so make sure you enjoy every single day, and welcome to our team as well. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Villegas. We're moving on to adjournment. I motion that we adjourn. Sir, second.
Kyer.
We'll take the roll vote. Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus.
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer.
Kyer, aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, aye. Motion passes 4-0. The time is 8:57. We're adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.